Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Biblical Britain Uncoded. And I've got an awful lot to go through on this video. In fact, this is my second attempt. The first one I did a video an hour and 55 minutes. I even ran out of time on that as well, but I had to restart. So I've got so much to say about this code, but no time to say it. So on that, I'm going to let the code do the talking for me. Anybody new to this? Basically, there's an amazing, undeniable code written into creation. That's the only way I can put it. It's split between the Atlas and full of map tricks, as you can see on the board in front of me. You've got the Atlas message matrix. Right, if you're new to it, Solomon's Temple, which I'm going to should prove beyond reasonable doubt to anybody with the eyes to see it, that with the most fantastic code that I've got in the last, during the full moon really, or as good as, and notably we are, 2023 has started with a full moon in Cancer. I believe this is a sign, and I'm about to, really shine the moon on this whole Cancer constellation and show you what I've unlocked with Solomon and his code, because Solomon really is a code. There's a real King David, a real King Solomon, but there's so much symbology involved, a lot of absolute nonsense as well. There's all these Hebrews, which is her webs. When you change the word around, it says her webs, because they've webbed it and made it. It's just like trying to throw everything over to the Middle East. And I'm about to prove that I know without doubt this cannot be coincidence, because there is way too much. Coincidence goes so far. But download it. These are the messages I get. It's so hard to explain it, but you can call it one-way telepathy. Something happened and I started getting these codes, and without further ado, I'm just going to get into it. Okay, so as you can see, it's an Atlas message matrix mentioned in the Old Testament 5 times. Well, the matrix is, Atlas is a last, and matrix is missing a P. It's hidden in the word padlock, which is on Solomon's Temple. As I'll show you in a picture shortly, that there's basically a padlock and a key, and both of them are on 2 ancient forts in South Wales. Okay, so padlock, when you break the word padlock, this is all purposed, is add P and lock. So add P and by adding P and locking it, you lock it to the matrix, which gives you map tricks, and that's what this is all predominantly about, map tricks. Okay, we've got the full moon in Cancer. I'm sure that is just to show you what these are the things I get. I can't take entire credit for this one. Somebody else that I randomly picked up, but I get to see these things when I need to. Somebody else worked this out, not the 2020 vision, that part's mine. But if you look at it, you've got a 2020, when you've got perfect vision, it's you get 2020 vision. So my 2020 vision was during a pandemic. You've got to be careful using these words, but a pandemic breakdowns ICN map. This C is very important. As this video will show you, this C connects everything in Solomon. It is the secret C, okay, or the trick C as it turns out, but so fantastic when you see it, how it works. Okay, I'm not going to shake this one out, but the apocalypse is, I think if you know what that's about, and it all to do with this ties with this. This is warning, and it's already building up, and we're in for. I don't even want to think. This year is just going to be horrendous, and I'm being honest with you people. I don't want to be the bringer of bad news, but this year's signs of everything is converging together, and this year is going to be this year. Right, 2021, 22, 23. Basically, you add up each column, you get 1, 2, 3 equals 6, 2, 2, 2 equals 6. All the noughts, so you just blank them out, and then 2, 2, 2, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. If you've seen my the last video is FFF. FFF is F is the sixth letter of the alphabet, and this is Fink's Fallen Few. Lucifer is Larry Fink. If you haven't seen the Lucifer code, check it out. Sorry, let's try that again. Right, Fink's Fallen Few. Okay, so this is 666. So it's the number of a man. The man is Lawrence Douglas Fink. He's Lucifer. As again, and I've got something amazing to show with that as well. It ties it up even better. His name is absolutely genius creation of a name because it tells you so much. You got Fink's Fallen Few. When you reverse this, is the WEF, or the World Economic Forum. This is the man and this is the beast. Incidentally, these people are working on a chip and they want to get chips inside your body, and they absolutely, if you look at any sort of video, Klaus Schwab, check him out, they're openly saying that they want to get everybody chipped and into a mainframe. Well, if you want to market, if they're truly fulfilling what's been added to I think is what's been added to Revelation, but in the reverse of that, in the Daniel statue, which you'd have to go back on my other videos, but Babylon's idol, and the bottom half of it is all about the microchip, the clay in the iron that doesn't mix is the chip, but a stone comes down and destroys it basically. So obviously I don't think it comes completely to fruition. Okay, so I'm just going to hold you there a second, guys and girls. Okay, folks, right, what we're looking at is Solomon's Code. There is this whole thing, the Solomon is a big part of this. As you can see, I've underlined on Solomon Mon's Code, because this is all about Monmouthshire. And I'm about to show you the Atlas or ALAS message done in Map Tricks, or this is, like I said, this really is, even this whole video will only be a snippet of this whole thing, because this whole code is huge, and I cannot do it all in one video. It has to be broken up, unfortunately. But either way, don't just take this video and for what I'm showing you. You have to go through, because there's an awful lot. This links to Egypt, the ancient pyramids, but it just literally, this code goes worldwide, piece by piece. But anyway, right, starting off. Right, okay, so we've got Crick, Portskewett, Sudbrook and Temple Meads. Okay, this gives us a message, which is absolutely fact. Right, before I do that, actually, right, well, first thing to note is number 4, Temple Meads, is in Bristol. The other 3 are in Mon. Okay, so what is this all about? Well, firstly, it's about and then, right, as I'll explain as we go on further, obviously more, as I'll explain as we go on further, but the missing thing here is it's me, the moon sign, to connect it all together. The son of the moon sign, born in Cancer, which I am. Again, this is all to do with the Cancer moon. Okay, so what you've got, so this is, well, British covenant as well, as a promise in Solomon. But it's also telling you that Solomon is a Brit, which he is. He's King Llewellyn ap Caradog, which I'll get into, because his name is massively coded as well, and his father being King David, being Caradog ap Bran. Okay, ap meaning just son of, for anybody that isn't aware of it. So all these places, now the whole of, well, I'm sure that the whole of Monmouthshire has got code in it. Anybody thinks I can just do these anagrams from anywhere? It doesn't work like that. This just differs for whatever reason, where I work, where I live, and ironically Bethlehem, the area of Bethlehem, are the 3 predominant places of code that seem an anagram. And then you get pockets like Marcos Island, Florida, which has Florida keys in it. They all connect to the temple as well. Right, okay, well, without further ado, what I'll do is I'm going to write. So first thing we got Brit. Solomon is a Brit for one, and the covenant is with Solomon. So the covenant is in Mon, or the covenant, which is the promise. The promise is the same theory. I'll tell you that now, and I will show you how that all works shortly as well. Right, what does this say? Okay, so when we break this message down, and it anagrams down to, right, the first bit is C trick. Now this C is the answer that just unlocks everything now, as you'll see, because it's actually a trick C. But I'll put it in this order, but I think by right, I'm not sure which way around, C trick, because you see the trick, but you also, it's a trick C as well. Okay, but the actual message reads, I'll show you why it says me, adds me temple, or adds me temple, because the temple, well, as you'll see, it relates to me, basically. I know that may sound strange to anybody that's new to this, but when you see it, how this works, trust book, this is the atlas, the last message, so the book is the atlas. I'll show you how that works as well, and decodes all from Solomon's symbology. And the last one is Keep's word. Well, Keep's word is a covenant that he promised to keep Jacob, the ancestors of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, or Israel, it depends which way you look at it, but either way, even that is code in itself. The promise is written into it. But for now, let's just do it. It says Keep's word. Okay. Right, he keeps his word because he's put a place there right, what you have to understand is that all this nonsense in the Middle East about this being the Holy Land and everything else is absolute trickery. And what's been done, well, luckily, well, obviously I've been shown how to do it. No, I challenge anybody to find this code. And believe me, I'm not a code, I'm not somebody who went to university, again, I say it, I'm not somebody who did code or anything. I lived a normal 50 years, started getting a wake-up call just when COVID started, effectively, and then from there on, my life just turned upside down, and then ever since then, these codes just keep coming and getting stronger and stronger and stronger. But I realise now what's going on and why I've been and I really have been called to do it, as I'm going to demonstrate in the most remarkable, impossible way that only the Creator Yahweh, because that's his name, could actually do this. He's not the God of the Israelites, the God of the Siluri's. Okay, and I use the word God lightly, but because I don't even know if that's. I think well, without getting into that, let's stick to what we got. Right, okay. So this, effectively, when you draw a line on the map, you draw it from Crick and you go through number 2, number 3, it goes directly through them, crosses the River Severn, Sinavi. Obviously it's a rendezvous point. This is the safe zone, but there's 2 safe zones. There's a military RV safe zone, and there's a tribe safe zone on top. Okay, but this message, so C trick adds me temple, that's sort of like trust book, trust book keeps word, it is, sorry. Keeps word. Okay. Right, bear with me 2 seconds. I'll set the second bit up. Okay, folks, obviously a lot of people who've watched this before are aware of this, but for anybody new, just so this makes a whole lot more sense, this is the, as you can see, this fort, well, what this is actually a hill fort, an ancient hill fort, and the home of the, what so said the biblical Israelites, and not Israelites, is actually Siluris. I've decoded these and shown it, but the Siluri are the tribe that live in, where I live in Cowent in South Wales. Cowent was given a Roman name of Venta Silurum, which will become apparent later. And in code, it's actually encoded into the American dollar message, and this is the key basically to Solomon's kingdom. And I kid you not, this opens up everything, and it's the center of the map tricks. Okay, what we have here, just down the road, what you'll see, this is basically if I just pull up there, if I just pull up this, I don't know how well you can see this, but what you've got, this here is in the shape of a padlock, and this is the padlock that unlocks the matrix. The add P unlocks. Now what's amazing, and this is why it says adds me temple, is because I was actually, when I was born, I wasn't born here, I was actually born in Newport. But my parents lived in the house just to the left, literally where this wall here is. My parents lived, there's a house here called Cowent House. And this is where I lived, and I was inserted, literally, not physically, but as my spark of life went into my mother's womb in this house, right by here, not, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 feet probably from the actual matrix lock that I unlocked 50 years later after being woken up. Not somebody who does faith and anything like that. I wasn't religious or anything, and I wouldn't have believed, and I have to be honest, I wouldn't have believed any of this in a million years if I'm massively on it. Well, I wouldn't have if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, and I keep getting these codes and they just keep coming to me, and instantly I know what these things mean, which is just amazing. But as you can see, this is the temple. This is the shape of the temple. This is Solomon's temple. This is where the ark would have been kept, in the middle. These keys relate to the Florida Keys on Marco's Island, but I won't get into that because we'll run out. But as you can see, it's called, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, no, you can't. It's basically, it's Venta Silurum. When decoded, this is the actual Jerusalem. Okay, the G-Rus is named after the constellation G-Rus, which I'll show you something that perfectly ties this up in a place that no man could do it. Well, you'll see when I show you. Recorded in the stars as well, the message in the stars to boot. Right, without further ado, let me just get the camera back onto the board and I shall start explaining what I mean. Okay, folks, as you can see, the Trixie adds me temple. It says me temple, adds me temple, because it's the temple where I was literally brought into the world and inserted into the matrix. Okay, what does it mean then? Trixie adds me temple. Well, it's King Solomon's temple. This is what this whole code is about. Okay, King Solomon's temple. Now, what's amazing is as soon as I saw that Trixie, I realised and everything locks into place immediately. And when I say locks into place, I literally mean locks into place. Because what you get by using it is and all I do is add the Trixie into there. There's your Trixie. And it says, so lock in Mon's temple. Obviously, I'll scrub those off. But along with it goes, as I showed you, the key as well. It's the key to King Solomon. So, and the same thing applies here. Mon's key. Mon is basically the borough of Monmouthshire. Monmouthshire is Solomon's kingdom. Okay, right. I'll come to this one, but this is pretty amazing. This one. This is locking in Mon's dollar. I will show you what Mon's dollar is now, and the amazing code that comes with it. But this all ties to the American dollar and the message in it. Now, King Solomon on his own is locking, it's lock in G Mon. Okay, G Mon is Jerusalem. Okay, G-Rus Mon. Now the other four, the second, right, G-Rus is it. Right, without getting into it, basically, you go through from Venta Silurum. Venta Silurum is the said Roman given name. When you unscrabble it, it says Rusilum. Later on, going through Orion's codes, there's a load of, without getting into too deep because I won't have time, but effectively what you get is it was named after and I'll show you something very important with this to identify this as being Jerusalem. Okay, but the other fort is called Llanmelin, and what they did, which is a mel basically. It's a mel, and then so what they did, all they've done is they've just reversed it. Oh, sorry. They've reversed the mel and named the new fort as well. They've put the coded old fort name Mel backwards. It's Melin, it is. Clan Melin, which is Clan Melin as well, which I'll explain a little bit more as we go on. But because the Clan Mel is written into it, again, that's my family name as well, which makes it even more absolutely outstanding. But as you can see, this Trick C opens up an awful lot more than this, because I've realised that this Trick C is in a lot of the codes that I've previously done. And then when you now going back to them, and I put in these unlocking the temple, the key, and the whatever else, that you start to see, well, you realise that this Trick C fits in there, and it's all about confirming Solomon's temple, Solomon's key, and ultimately Solomon's kingdom. On that, and just on this as well, lock in Gmon. Okay, one of the early codes that I got, one of the first codes that I got, again going back quite a bit, this one, was firstly you have to know the kingdom itself. Well, Solomon was a wise king, and by wise he was Scotland and England. Okay, so the Kingdom of Solomon was Wales, Ireland, Scotland and England, effectively, or most of it. I think there was part of it which is what is biblically known as Canaan, which is what was Loiga, but without getting into that. But anyway, if we go here, you can see you've got SEAL, so the seal is on Wales. And on my map, but I've got a large map, obviously, with the Seal of Solomon. There's a million things in there, but without going too deep again into it, let's just stick with that. But here's the original message, was RECONG, Recon G. Well, I did recon the G, and there's an awful lot of G, but ultimately it's Jerusalem. And that really is what the G is all about. But Caerwent is also, this is the name of the place now, and it's in Gwent, County of Gwent, in the borough of, I'm going to call it Mon, it's Monmouthshire. But what you've got is this is what happened. The Caerwent, you just unscrabble the letters and it tells you the story. Then the G went from Jerusalem. They scrabbled it up, called it Silurim, and then obviously now, but left underneath it is the biggest clue of all, and it's well, it's locking in Mon's kingdom, Mon's kingdom. So the K went, the G went, Solomon's kingdom went. Pretty much. Okay, 2 seconds, guys and girls. Okay, right, another one. Right, King Solomon's temple pillars. Okay, I'm going to break this down because it gets far more amazing than this. But King Solomon's temple pillars. So we're going to do the same thing again. So locking in with the Trick C. So locking Mon's temple pillars. Okay, so locking in, right, the 2 pillars named in the Bible of King Solomon's temple. Bear in mind that a J has been added. It was added in the 1600s to the English alphabet, and what it should be is a Y. And I know when you follow all the Jewish literature, and you know, even though they're totally deceived and they're in the wrong place and everything else, and they've been unfortunately tricked into believing that they're the chosen people and everything else that goes with it. Right, effectively it shouldn't be a J, it should be a Y. And what it is Yachin Boaz. This is why they call Joseph, Yosef, Jerusalem or something, I don't know, but effectively it should be a Y, not a J. J has been added, this has been taken out. They've also, these used to be called, and I remember seeing this in the Bible as a kid, they were Joachim Boaz, but for whatever reason the masons on their pillars have shortened it to Yachim. Makes no difference because the one letter they took out is neither here nor there, because it gives you the correct code either way. Just takes a letter. Okay, what does it say? Okay, what it actually is saying in code is, and this is where this C comes in again. Okay, let me just scrub that. The only difference is with this one is going to be an O at the front. As you can see, is Yachim, Boaz, it's just an extra O. So all it says is O, what I'm going to show you now, okay? So what this actually says is, actually let me make this a bit bigger. Now bear in mind where I was inserted into the matrix, where my parents lived when I was a baby. This says, see him as a boy. If you do it with the other one, it's just an O, see him as a boy. Right, what is it? So, but this is where this gets clever, because see him as a boy, because if you see where I was put into the matrix, and as I lived as a baby boy, what you see is you get that you are locking solo. Sorry, hang on, let me just move that. You get the picture with that. Just a trick. It's all part of the trick. See, so locking, and it'll be so sorry. So locking. Mons pillars. So see him as a boy. So locking Mons pillars. So I was inserted here, and the temple is here. There's the lock. So obviously see him as a boy. I was here. So locking in Mon's temple, the temple of Solomon in Monmouthshire. Okay, let me just take you further on from there. Okay, folks, and yeah, right, Coelin ap Caradog. This guy was basically ruled from Coent. His father was Caradog ap Bran, or known as Bran the Blessed, who ruled from Llanmelin the Key. Coelin, obviously David. Without going into it, but David is a code for the old David, which is Coelin ap Caradog, but it's also a code for me. But I'll come to that as we go on. Okay, so Coelin ap Caradog. So his name is coded. Well, as you'd expect, is coded as well, very cleverly too. And like I say, everything has been laid out into creation before. I don't know. Well, it's mind blowing how all this is there, but it sure is, and it truly is. Can only be the work of the one and only true Creator. Okay, and he's proving to you that not only is he proving that he's real, but obviously he's putting my name, and my name is in this. It's not an ego trip, I can assure you, because I had as much trouble, getting. Well, I didn't even know how. I still can't get my head round it all, but it clearly is what it is. Right, okay, Coelin ap Caradog. So what does this say? So his name is very cleverly coded as well, because it says now, knowing what this new code is, it's hard to know which way to put this, but I'm going to put C all code C-O-D-E seal code go. It's probably a message to you as well. A-N-P-R-A-Y. Go and pray. Okay, C all code, or could be all code C. I think it works in numerous ways. It's that clever. But the C all code, or the all code C, again, is the locking of Solomon's temple. It's that trick C code again. C all code, go and pray. But it's cleverer than that, because this as well unlocks the next stage, which I'm about to show you, which again is all mind blowing, and gives you the locking in of the G and everything else, and the key and what all this means. Okay, and I believe it's full for 2023 as well. And this is why we're in a Cancer moon at the beginning of January. Bear with me. Okay, folks, as you can see, right, obviously there's a lot more to this, and I'm going to explain it as it goes on, how you get this actual shape. Okay, when I pray, and you'll have to forgive me, I've got short legs on this, or a short body, but effectively what I do is stand in the letter Y. I learned it, well, I got shown this. Don't ask me how, but I just know that you stand, the Creator's name is Yahweh, so it makes complete sense to stand in a letter that represents his name, obviously. Spelling right. The secret spelling of his name is written in Heion, is actually written in Heion Y, which has no Yahweh, but it's spelled like this. And this is the secret spelling of his name. And there's also the river Y as well. But it's all to do with uncoding Mini Mini Tekla, Farsin, and Map 10, Seek Melin here. And it says it's all to do with the book of Daniel when he says he tells King Nebuchadnezzar, or can he be Dresser? I think there's another code in that. But he tells him basically his kingdom has been numbered and he's going to lose, effectively he's going to lose his kingdom. But he says your kingdom has been numbered and found wanting. Well, the reason it's wanting is because he's using an atlas, a book to show him, and he's obviously telling him there's no Yahweh, which is Hey on Y. If I put no in front of that and then unscramble it and say Hey on Y. And that's inside the tent. So there's no, well, basically no recollection of, nothing of him in there, in the map. It's all symbolic, obviously, but by standing the letter Y, this is also the constellation of Cancer, which is my birth sign, which is, again, this is all to do with the full moon in Cancer being 2023 and getting this code, unbelievably, at the time when the full moon in Cancer at the beginning of the year, which I think is an omen to what is coming this year. Okay. Right, do not fear, though there is a safe zone, and that is what this represents on a map. Okay, so, right. So by standing with my hands up, and when I ask for forgiveness of sin, I drop my head forward, obviously, and tell him, I'm ashamed of everything I've done. Please, forgive me. And what I've done is, and you've also got the lock and the key on the map coordinates. This is the two forts. This is Jerusalem and Lamelin, the key and the lock. This is Swindon, which is Canaan, or it's coded as Canaan. Canaan is outside the tribe lands, basically. Swindon is Canaan. Egypt is Exeter, Egypt, or represents. It's all code again. It's all written in a Torah code. Then you've got your two forts, and then you've got Judah, or Judah. Again, it's that Y and the J thing, and Holy Head. Obviously there's a Holy Head. And there's the Holy Head and the Holy Head it's all part of the same thing. It says YH. It's a phonetic Y and H, and the reason is because that is the letters of the Tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton. Again, when you type in the Phoenix code, it says remote anagram TT. It's timing and triggers. It's all to do with the Kutch code as well, which is one of my earlier videos, but I won't have time to get into that. But what you'll notice is, right, firstly, the Canaan, Egypt, and Judah is a K-E-Y. It's a key. And this is the original and the opening key of this whole great big map I did with all these different symbols and everything in it, which I won't have time to get into now. Some of my past videos sort of highlight it. This is the moon, basically, shine over there, because this ties with Solomon's pillars, which I'll show you in the next part of the video. But if you just roll with me a little bit. But it says, key, yes, and then seek. So it's key, yes, seek. It's all over, I know it sounds bizarre, but this is all over Gymru, which is the real Welsh word for Wales. They changed it to Cymru. They're making that now as if it's the common name. His real name is Gymru. And when you unscramble that, it also says Mr. Guy. Obviously, my surname is Guy. And there you go. So, obviously, by seeking, I've unlocked this. It's given me these map coordinates for the safe zone as well, which I'll explain better now. But it's got key, yes, seek, and then Mr. Guy, but it's not really. What you need to seek is Yahweh. That's who you need to seek. And but this is how you seek him, and I'm just showing you how to unlock it all, and how Coelin ap Caradoc, this is why he says go and pray, because by doing so, what it did was give me the knowledge or the wisdom, because I also filled my cup here with wisdom, and I filled my cup with wisdom, and that gave me the wisdom to look, but I guess to see the reflective, and again see the coordinates to make this safe zone, which is a Solomon's. Incidentally, is I'll tell you, well, the basis for the safe zone. There's a lot more to it than this. You've got it's a combined. Bear in mind, Canaan, Egypt, and Judah were three nations. Going biblically, they're three nations. So it's a combined nations safe code. As you can see, you've got the three arms as well, which are the wheel of the safe as well. And once I obviously, but there's a key. There was a seal over it. Once I broke through the seal, which is on the map as well, because there's a giant seal of Solomon. It's a pyramid. It's a million other things. But once I then broke it, it gave me the wisdom to find the lock and the key, and then obviously which unlocks a whole lot more. Okay, bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, folks, a bit wonky, but as you can see, this is right. What you've got here is effectively what the Freemasons use as their symbology, and I'm about to break it to you what it actually means. It is a bit lopsided, but as you can see, right. First thing, you've got the Pillars of Solomon, okay, and what you have, right. One of them has a map of the Earth or the Atlas on it. That's what it really is. This contains a last message. It's written in the stars as well. So it's using the constellation, well, the stars and the constellation, plus the map to make a Temple at Mon is template Mon. So it's a template basically to create a star map and the combination safe zone. So first thing you've got this there's 7 stars. This is the Pleiades. So that's Please ID. So it's Please ID, sun, because it's got a face with a smile. Well, I put a smile on it because, well, I'm born in, and the thing is the amazing part is I'm actually born I was obviously born in Cancer in the 30th of June 1970. So I'm the son of, literally the son of the moon sign. In Cancer is the Royal Arch as well, and the Monarch H, and with Y. Why Monarch H? Well, Monarch H is the Royal Arch, and this is to do with the checkmated king. I'll come to that now. But the first thing you do is use the stars to now put your template of Cancer in. And what you do is you go 1, 2. This is your lock. This is your key fob, and then it goes up. So you've got Judah, Holy Head. Ooh, that joins in the middle, and then you've got Swindon, Canaan. This is on the map. It doesn't mean it's literally Canaan. It's just going back to the ancient times. You've got Egypt is Exeter. If you haven't seen that, just check the Torah code video, because that'll tell you exactly what this is all about. It's nothing to do with the Middle East, and that's without a doubt. Okay, but what happens is the moon has been sleeping. This is why it's there. But when the moon comes to full and it wakes up, what it does, it realises obviously it's done its praying the other way, as Coelin ap Caradoc told me to go get all the code, go and pray, locking in the temple. Well, this one would be the temple. Even these stars are coded. Acellus Borealis is a bow is real, and Acellus a Silur star. But I'll explain a little bit more on those now. And the Silur is the tribe of the Siluri. Okay, what is the YH? Well, again, it's YH, which is the Tetragrammaton. This is the biblical code for the Tetragrammaton. Is some sort of, I don't know physically what it is, but whatever is telling me this stuff, and it's loading down into my head and telling me these things. Well, I know who it is, Yahweh, is no doubt, but some sort of like end time plan that for whatever reason I was sent to reveal to you or to mankind. Obviously that's why I need to get this message out. Okay, so the moon has woken up, and highlights the safe zone in the Combined Nation safe area that I seek. Again, this is Gumri. There's a lot more to this. From here, there's also a bow encoded. I'll come to it, but this place here is called Carrow Hill. This is an ancient stone circle. This is the key, this is the lock. And what I do is I fire this across and it goes, well, literally, if on the map, it goes to a place called Mablethorpe. I'll explain that now. Lincolnshire, I think. Lincolnshire, or Lincoln Rise H, I guess. Right, okay, so again, this, hang on, let's drop this down. See, Arrow Hill. Okay. This also is the symbology of this on another symbol. I'll show you another. We're going to break another one in a minute. Another big code of Solomon's. But see, Arrow Hill is so locking. Again, is this locking arrow? Well, so locking Arrow Hill. This is the arrow, and this is the hill, the H, because this is all to do with this being. This is a code. G Roos is G Roos. This is why it's locking G. Solomon is locking G, so locking G, G Roos, and then H, because the GH code is the key for breaking this, and the H is Melin. It's the Melin H, the secret H man of Melin. I'll explain that again a little bit more as we go on. Okay, I'll come to this now, but there's something that says, can you bind the sweet influences of the Pleiades? Well, I will show you the sweet influences of the Pleiades and how amazing this is, all being part of a template mod. It's a template of stars and maps again, because this fires off, and there's the bands of Orion as well. This is the band of Orion. The other two bands are Pharaohs and Siluris, or Ark clan. Again, I won't be able to get into that in detail, or this won't upload. But this fires off, goes to Mablethorpe, and that is the answer to the Pleiades message. Okay, bear with me if I missed anything on there. Right, the king piece. Right, what this checkered board. A chessboard is 8 by 8. There's H by H by H by H. It's all about H. And this is the H, the king H. The H is the king. It's made up of this is the Ankh. It's hard to show it. I'll show you in greater detail now. But it's made up of the Ankh and the Tau. And I'll show you how to decode these two now. The Ankh and the Tau, which says a thank you. And I believe it's a thank you for playing the game, basically. For me. And what the pieces are, the black pieces. The black pieces are basically me getting the code, then moving a piece forward, and as I get each code. But all the black pieces are doubt, and then along comes a white piece, which is code, representation of code. A lot of the pawns are sort of smaller, all the places and everything else, the less keys and what have you of Solomon. The two castles, one is G Roos, one is Melin. The knights. Amazingly is knits GH, in other words, ties the G and the H together. This is the G, this is the H. The bishops, or what we know as bishops, are druids, and they're just simply where I drew IDs on maps, and then obviously the pieces come and the white pieces come and taking it away, and there's some sort of confirmation in whether it be in the stars or in the next code the following week, which has been happening consistently for well, it just keeps going and going. Right, the queen is the Babylonian Queen Ishtar. Now the queen has been taken, which is another part of this as well, knowing that our queen has just been, the Queen of Britain has just been taken. But what this is British art. British art. Well, what that is Britannia. Britannia with the lion. She's tamed the lion. obviously she's taking the line of why you had a H, the Lion of Judah. That's why it's sat waiting, and obviously she's got it tamed. And well, I'll leave that the rest to your imagination. The last piece, obviously, is the Black King, who's on the board, and basically, and this is where I am with code, because as far as I try to to find a way with this just all coincidence, I just can't. It's impossible. And where I am is checkmate, basically. And white code wins. The code has just done it. The only piece left on the board is a king, is the Black King. The king of doubt, really. I guess I was always a doubt until the final, until this all comes to, I don't really have any doubt that this is gonna, what I'm telling you is genuine, because it's just way too much of it for this not to be, real. Right, bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, next piece of symbology, and my apologies for my appalling drawing. What you have on the side of Masonic buildings is this. This is the seal of Solomon. You've got G, you've got a load of code and you've got a load of numbers and what have you. Got a H at the top of the crown. Right, how do you decode this? Right, firstly, we've got a C. This is, okay, so the C goes in the middle. Right, the big key to this is that we've got Melin, Llanmelin. Well, this is for Llanmelin, or what is Llanmelin? This is the key. Okay, Llanmelin. Okay, this is the key for Llanmelin. Obviously, what I do is overlay the C onto the centre of it, and that gives you Llanmelin. Like, to make it the first part, well, I say the first part, depends which order you're doing in, but the code in David is King David, which is, again, you can lock in, and there's, you've got Colchester as well, I've realised, which is lock secret H. So if I put lock King, and then obviously add VID, and then it's the secret H as well. I'm the secret H man, basically, but without getting into that. Right, okay, so, and obviously the H, well, there we go, and then, locking in the H, there we are. The holy head of the real holy family. That's what this is about. I think, I know it is. Anyway, without getting too deep into it, add right, so King David is an anagram for add VID. So all I do is I add V, and now we've got Clan Melvin. Clan Melvin. Well, again, I've said it before, but my grandfather's name was Melvin ap Robert, ap meaning son of in Welsh. So he would be Melvin ap Robert. My father would be Melvin ap Melvin, and I would be Marco ap Melvin. So this is the line of Clan Melvin. Mel is also elm, and this is the tree that was uprooted, basically, and replanted, and the vine of the Siluri. Okay, this is all biblical to the Old Testament. Okay, what are the numbers? Right, the numbers represent tribes. You've got, this is an I, and this is this I here. Z is the end of the alphabet, because we've got an end regenesis. It says I, Siluri, Angel, C, end regenesis, Z. Right, the 3, 8, 9 and 3 are 3 decoded of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Right, you've got the Desi Angli, the Siluri and the Regenesis. When you unscramble it, this is the code, this is what it says. I, Siluri, Angel, NG, Regenesis, Z, Clan Melvin. And then you've got the G, which is, again, Gumri Guy, Mr. Guy, so you've got Mr. Guy of the Clan Melvin. I'm the Siluri angel that sees the end regenesis, but also, as well as see, I'm locking in Solomon and everything else that goes with it. Okay, this is unsealing what Solomon did, I guess, and that's probably what it is. But the main code in this is to see Melin, which is also in Mini Tekel at Farsim, which is a biblical code that I encoded, which actually says unmap 10, seek Melin here. Makes a tribe tent, and I'm not going to have time to get into this because I'm going to have to speed it up a little, folks, just to try to squeeze everything in. So bear with me a second. But this is your king piece, It's also what this is the ankh underneath, and then it's been reclothed with the tau. And when you combine the two, you get the king, or the holy head of the family, I guess the royal family, and that's why it's under a royal arch as Cancer, which is me of the clan Melvin, born in Cancer, the son of the moon sign, born in Cancer. This is what the code says, so that you know, that's what it is. But you're tau, and again you're tau and your ankh, combine the two, and you get you get the tau, and the ankh is a thank you. So I'm guessing it's thank you for playing the game, I guess. And like I say, the only piece that's on the board at the moment, and I really am exactly there. I'm at checkmate to see that this can all, well, it can't be wrong. I know how I get it, and it's not of, well, as you can see, I get it so quickly, and this code just keeps coming and coming. I'll just pause you there a second. Okay, now what we have to do is connect the tau and the ankh, thank you, but we have to connect literally the tau and Rus. Now Rus is obviously Rus is G-Rus, Jerusalem. But how do we do it? Right, you take all the stars in Taurus, unscramble the message, and it actually says, bear in mind he's speaking in past tense because I'd already run this map before I found Taurus in this message. So it's just proving that this is knowing exactly what I'm doing and doing it in advance of me doing it, okay? It says you ran Guyana map and Mel that I hid in. Okay, in Guyana, I will show you now on the map, hidden in, drawn into the land via place names are a huge code, and it makes up, the picture makes up the constellation of G-Rus the crane. So the tau in the Rus is the tau represents a Mel, one of the clan Melvin, and the G-Rus is the crane. All I do is reverse the Mel, and you get a Jerusalem. Okay. Right, the name of the places, and this is, right, you ran Guyana map and Mel that I hid in. Well, the Mel that you hid in is because the first point is Guyana City. And without breaking it all down, it says a guy and a city. Well, I'm the guy, and obviously the city is G-Rus or Ventus Iurum, modern day Coent. Okay, now the four brightest stars on this make up a message in itself because they're not on town. These are the smaller ones are on towns, these bigger ones are on countries, and the countries are Guyana, Suriname, Roraima, and Amapa. When you unscramble the message in it, the four bright stars give the actual message, and bear in mind, it says, I surnamed you before you were born. That's written in Isaiah. It says, Anagai, surname I, I am a mapper. Obviously, I'm a mapper, but it's also, I'm an app, because there's a place, next place is called Belem, B-E-L-M-E, I think, or Belem, or B-L-E-E-M. Belem. But when you unscramble it, it says Bemel, and the secret here is just above it is a place called Marco. I'll show you on the map now. The next place is St. Louis, Sao Louis, S-A-O-L-U-I-S, but it's Soa Sailu. Sailu is obviously a singular Siluri. Siluri is actually the tribe of Jerusalem, or Ventus Iurum Coent. The last place is Fort Eliza, which is Seal of Fort, basically. So, well, it's Seal of Fort. Well, I'm sealing a fort because it's all written in, along with the constellation that it's named after, written in South America. Okay, give me 2 seconds. I'll just show you on the map all these places so you can see how this works, and the constellation G-Rus. Okay, folks, as you can see, this is the constellation of G-Rus, and these are the stars. So this bottom one here is Guyana City, which is a Guyana city. The next one is Guyana, Anagai, Suriname, Suriname, Roraima, I am. This is a state, a mapper. So Anagai, Suriname, I am a mapper. This is I think it's Belem, which is Bemel, and just above it, hiding, is a place called Marco, which is obviously the secret that Yah hid in. Then you have, this is Anna Guy, surname I, Rory Am a mapper, B-Mel, Marco B-Mel. This is Soa Silu, and this is Seal of Fort, but this one's quite bright as well, but obviously that's because it's obviously the whole thing seals the fort. G Roos, which is G Roos, well, G Roos a Mel. Now that is also coded with my name. I'm not going to have time to go through all this. I don't think I'm going to have to break this down into two parts. So right, just back quickly, if I go to the map, right, I don't know if you can, let's get this in the middle. Let's get it in a little bit out. Right, this is South America. Obviously, this is the top of it. Place by place. This is Guyana City, a Guyana City. This is Guyana. This piece here is Guyana. This is Suriname. So Anna Guy, surname I. This is Roraima, wherever it says it. Bear with me. Usually I bury it. Where are you? I don't know if you can see this, but it says, hang on, I'll put it up there, but it's Roraima National Forest. It's Roraima, the place, which is where I am. This is, again, it's covered over because when I put the thing on it, the map lines over it, it disappears. So if I just pull up, you can see there, a Mappa National Forest. So it's a Mappa. Then you've got this place here called Belém, which is I don't know if you can see that, B-Mel. And there's Marco right by there. So Marco B-Mel. Okay, this is all, I will show you actually this in reverse, and I'm going to have to leave the rest to the next video. Right, then you've got Soa Silu, and the final place that makes up G Roos, the constellation of G Roos, is Fortaleza, which is with a Z. You just change it to S, and it just runs the same. It's Seal of Fort, but it's Seal of Fort. So you seal a fort, it's all in code. And there you go, is the constellation of G Roos, that Jerusalem, being Venta Silu Coent, is actually named after. Okay, right, just bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, oh, just move my camera, guys and girls, sorry, 2 seconds. Okay, folks, just before I finish up, obviously we've got the Clan Melvin. So the Clan Melvin is Melvin at Robert, Melvin at Melvin. So this is my grandfather, this is my father, and this is me, Marco at Melvin, because of the Marco, Amappa is also Ama App. So B-Mel, Ama App, Marco, Ama App, Mel. Okay, add VID, and you've got the Clan Melvin. So this is the Clan Melvin. Okay, now to tie it to Jerusalem, because Tau also means completion, and completion at Roos is by uncoding the last bit and getting the Yap Melvin bit. So what you've got is Jerusalem backwards is G Roos at Mel. But when you fill in the blanks, it's Melvin, a name G. What's incredible, when you take out the Vin and the name, it comes to the vine man. The vine man that grows around the tree. And the tree is, as I say, the Mel is also the elm tree. So the elm tree is it's the tree of safety, basically, the tree of life, I guess, and I'm the vine around it that's holding it all together and piecing it all together. But so the completion at Roos is Jerusalem, and this will be the completion at Roos. All you do then is Melvin a surname, Melvin a surname G, and then you just add the secret he hid in is Marco App Melvin. Marco at Melvin, Marco at Melvin G, and the G is just Guy. You can also use the G as Gumry, which is Mr. Guy. So if you want to complete it, you could even put in Mr. at the front. So you've got Mr. Marco at Melvin Guy, which is my full name. Okay, right, I'm going to leave it there, folks, and do a part 2. I'm actually exhausted from this, but I'll just keep praying, put those hands up, like I say, and like I think we're in for a bumpy year, and I'll do part 2 shortly when I need to get enough people to see this before I continue on, but I've got something fantastic to show you. But understand, this safe zone is all there, and well, like I say, the American dollar as well. He said, and just to quickly tie that up, he says he nodded at the beginning of a new order of centuries, and then it says, right, I put C Ventus Illurum Optimus One's in door, but that C drops down. So now it would say he nodded at the beginning of a new order of the centuries, so locking in, this is where the C comes, so locking in Mons Temple Key, Ventus Illurum, Octopus One's in door, plus UI number out of many 1. I'll go into a bit more depth with that on the next video, but I think I'd best call it a day, or this won't upload. Thank you for watching, and Yah's blessings to you.